Chaps, BJ Watling, what a servant of the game.
Yeah, what a champion. And I saw a nice line today that if the New Zealand cricket team could be summed up in a single person, it would be BJ Watling. And that's not a bad way of putting it, actually. He's a very undemonstrative, quiet achiever, so much so that sometimes he's overlooked, actually.
Can I actually ask the question there, Dylan? Did you write that line?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. I was just
No.
wondering if you were doing a bit of self-congratulations there and saying that was secretly written by Dylan Cleaver.
No, I wrote
Still in Diva.
I wrote a piece about him the other day, and then I saw that line this morning. I thought, oh, shit, damn. Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, damn it.
Yeah.
Writer's envy. Look, you know, to me, he's one of the champions of the game. I think he's in the top 10 dismissals of wicketkeepers of all time. You know, 8 Test centuries, the most dismissals by a New Zealand keeper. And when you think, ostensibly, when he was brought into the side initially, it was as an opener, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And he never really, interestingly, cut it in that regard. But he made the perfect number 6 in the sense, because there was a gilded edge to the fact that they dropped him down the order and made him wicketkeeper. He came in at number 6 and was that perfect foil, as it turned out, for that second new ball potentially pull forward.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, he's just, an absolute low-key legend of our game. And I think, just doing his announcement this week, he's having to front up into interviews. You can tell he hates being the centre of attention, doesn't like being in the spotlight. But people are really gushing about this phenomenal contribution that he's made. Since I think he was picked, John Wright picked him way back in 2009. There's a lovely story about him after his Test debut at McLean Park, and the rain came in and the match got abandoned and so on, and he was sitting outside, sitting in the dressing room, and Dan Vittori sat down and just said to him, "Well played," and he just remembered that. And then I think Dan said something to him about, make sure that you create a career out of this. You're good enough for this not to be just a one-off. And he said that really stuck with him, and that's been part of his longevity and feeling like he's going to make that he can make a big contribution. He's been raised by a solo mum in Tokoroa, born in Durban. Chris Kugelheim took him under his wing as a sort of surrogate father. And I mean, he's been a wicket keeper just to sit in the pocket there. And, I think he loved Jonty Rhodes as a kid. And ironically, the one thing he hasn't got to do is field. He's done everything else. And I guess you talk about great lines, Dylan. He's got 3 words tattooed on him: loyalty, honesty, selflessness. And, I think all of the plaudits that are coming his way this week all sheet back to that.
Oh, and the interesting thing about him too, and I think this reflects the character that he was, Dylan, in many respects, it seemed to be when New Zealand had their backs to the wall, when they were really under the pump, that's when he was at his best.
Yeah, absolutely right. You're right as well about that move to the middle order. It had a massive effect on that New Zealand team, because he was while he was a very good foil for the in-batsman, and I guess we'll remember him for being at the other end for most of Brendan McCullum's triple century. He was at the other end when he and Kane Williamson turned around an absolutely ridiculous situation against Sri Lanka, and we ended up winning that test. But he was also very good at nursing the tail through the end. So he could play that. He could play one of 2 ways, really. And to me, my favourite BJ Watling innings is one that barely gets a mention these days, but it was 120 he scored against England at Headingley. New Zealand had lost the first test of that 2-test series in kind of a stupid circumstances, really, at Lords. They needed to win at Headingley. It was all tied after the first innings, 350 all. He came out at 141 for 4 and played a really un-BJ-like innings. He just started slapping it around from almost ball 1, scored 120 off about 160 balls. New Zealand won that test easily. And it was the first time where I sort of sat there and went, wow, that guy is better than just a gutsy kind of fighter.
Yeah, nuggety little nudger and glancer.
He just knows how to play the game.